Tuttle's here with all her fabulous band. They come by ways of Nashville, but of course they come a little further away. She's from out there in the Golden State of California. That old Kyle Tuttle bringing the good stuff in out of Cumming, Georgia. She'll be rocking on the thumping doghouse bass from out there in the far western climate of Laramie, Wyoming. And the fancy fiddling that you'll see from Bronwyn Keith. She can really saw that thing, y'all. She comes from Nelson County, Virginia. Well, I'm just so glad that we can all get a chance to be together in a sweating, heaping throng in Indianapolis on a Saturday night. Hear a good couple of tunes about making whiskey. I saved the part about making crank for next time.
No, I was trying to like...
Thank God for ninth grade chemistry.
I hope that's okay.
Well, I'd like to sing a song now. Before I do it, I just wanted to tell you that I spent a whole lot of time in Kentucky, because that's what you got to do when you come to Indiana from Tennessee. Yeah, it's the gateway, y'all, the Bluegrass State. That's how you know you're saying goodbye to the Southland. That's how you know you're heading up there to the Midwest. Even though the accents might stay a little bit twangy once you're still around the Ohio River, that twang hardens up and it gets a little bit more sour with every mile that you go north. Still, you start talking like damned old Dan Quayle by the time you get halfway across the state. We won't hold it against you. Hell, I like Dan. Anyway, coming through Kentucky, it had me thinking, good God, it's so great to be here in Kentucky and to get the chance to think about some of my idols from the great state. You know, like Bill Monroe, of course. And what about Merle Travis? That's who Doc named his son for. And how about old Ike Everly and his wife Margaret? They gave birth to 2 kids up in Brownie, Kentucky, Central City now, Don and Phil. They moved them on out to Shenandoah, Iowa, because they heard there was a damned old radio station. And not only that, folks have been coming up to Indiana from the Southland for 100 years. Mostly they went up to Richmond to make them good old records. They weren't all called the Hoosier Hot Shots, but I know there was a whole lot of hot shot in all of them. Imagine that. Taking the train from Mississippi to Indiana in 1928. Good God. All I had to do was to take a Volvo up I-65. Anyhow, I wanted to tell you about the time I met John Prine. I wanted to tell you because I miss him. And I know I share missing him with everybody here because we all miss him. And maybe you miss somebody even more. Like I miss my Aunt Thais even more. And they both damn died of COVID. I miss Charlie Pride too. I want to sing about John. And while I'm doing it, you can think about whoever your version of Aunt Thais is. Whoever your version of Charlie Pride is. Or whoever your version of John Prine is. Somebody that you had to say goodbye to in the past couple years. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about a birthday some time ago. I went to the Silver Sands to get me a meat and 3. Now, y'all don't know how to eat like we do down in Nashville, Tennessee. We got this thing called meat and 3. Now, the meat, you know what that's at. But the 3 is the vegetables. Now, don't forget down south, cottage cheese is considered a vegetable. As is Jell-O. And, of course, macaroni is a vegetable. Now, a lot of the vegetables are more meat than vegetable, like turnip greens and collards. But when you go to the Silver Sands like I did on my birthday, you know you're going to get a gut buster. I walked on in, I heard the door jingle as I walked on in through the door, and I went right up there to the spit guard, and I saw Miss Thelma. Now, the Silver Sands was a bit ahead of its time. It's almost like they could foreshadow or predict the global pandemic. They had sneeze guards long before the Dollar Tree. or the Family Dollar here in Fountain Square, to put it in local terms. Anyhow, I'm gonna take my time with this tale. So I walk up to Miss Thelma at the sneeze guard and I say, "Ooh, I want to have my meat be the meatloaf tonight. And I want to have my 3 that's going to be shoe peg corn, butter beans, and turnip greens." And she said, "You want roller cornbread?" Now when you hear those words, "Do you want roller cornbread?" you know you've come home. I hope somebody says to you in the next 30 days, "Do you want roller cornbread?" Always pick cornbread. Because when you pick cornbread in Nashville, Tennessee, instead of roll, another choice is laid at your table. It's like the choose your own adventure. If you pick roll, you're gonna die. If you pick cornbread, you're gonna turn another page. Because after you pick cornbread, she's gonna say, "Hot water, Johnny Cake." And you're gonna say hot water. Because hot water cornbread, which is like a puck, is some good shit. So I took my plate lunch and I sat down at the table. I didn't bother getting no sweet tea or nothing. I started eating with my buddy. He said, "Happy birthday to you, Ketch." And I said, "Thanks." And just then the door jingled, just like it had done for me when I walked in. But this time, in walked John Prine. On my birthday, at the Silver Sands in Nashville, Northside, where all the good eating's at. And he walks up to Miss Thelma at the sneeze guard, and he puts in his order. He goes down to the end of the line, he pays for it, and he sits down. And my buddy's egging me on like the buddies will do. He's like, "Man, go get your picture made with him. Come on, man." And I want to get my picture made so bad with John Prine on my birthday. That's better than a 4-leaf clover, man. But come on, he's sitting right there. I don't want to interrupt his meeting 3. I'm just gonna watch him eat. I'm just gonna steal a glance. I'm not even gonna go over there. It's enough that I'm in the same restaurant with him as on my birthday. But that's when I notice his plate. I'm looking there at John Prine's plate, and he's got meatloaf. But more than that, he's got shoe peg corn. He's got butter beans. He's got turnip greens. And sitting right next to that is a hot water cornbread. Now, you all don't seem mystified and amazed like I was. Now, there was like 60 items on this menu, y'all. Do the math. DePaul graduates? Come on now. That's like 60 factorial raised to the umpteenth. What were the odds? What were the chances? I got the same meat and 3 as John Prine on my birthday. When I was a child, my family would travel down to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. And there's a backwards old town that's often remembered so many times over that my memories are worn. Help me sing. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking, 'cause Mr. Peabody's coal train is holding away. Sometimes we travel right down the Green River to the abandoned old prison out by Avery Hill, where the air smelled like snakes and we'd shoot with our pistols. Oh, but empty pop bottles was all we would kill. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking, 'cause Mr. Peabody's coal train is holding away. Y'all ever been to Muhlenberg County? Have you? It's kind of a dump. You ever been to Gary? It's like that. But it's got a lot of soul, even though it's kind of a shithole. The reason it's a shithole is despite its great amount of soul. The reason it's a shithole is because it's full of poison. God, who would want to poison a town? Who would want to poison a place that felt like paradise? I guess in this case, it's a dude named Mr. Peabody. I can think of another Mr. P. That's a real agent of poison. And so I'd like to sing this third verse for that tyrannical Mr. P from over there in old Mother Russia. I'd like to sing one because I think the paradise is a little bit like Ukraine. Then the coal company came with the world's largest shovel. And they tortured the timber and they stripped all the land. And they dug for their coal till the earth was forsaken. And they wrote it all down as the progress of man. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay. Yeah, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking, 'cause Mr. Peabody's coal train is hauled away. All right, we're gonna sing the third verse. The fourth verse, the last verse, the one that means peace, the one that means an end to war, environmental degradation, the one that means a paradise rising like a phoenix from the ashes, getting put back together, like a Gary, Indiana, where kids are playing on a swing set, like a paradise in Muhlenberg, Kentucky, where folks are going to the job and doing their thing, like a Ukraine, where all the kids are singing out in the streets. Let's sing that first. That's what this one is. Here it comes. When I die, let my ashes float down the Green River, and let my soul rise on up to the Rochester Dam. I'll be halfway to heaven with paradise waiting, just 5 miles away from wherever I am. Everybody sing! And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is loaded. Everybody singing, Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train is holding away. Stay tuned.